Hello. We've a number of scientists among today's artists. A neuroscientist, someone with a PhD.
Let's hope they have good chemistry. Oh. I was hoping for a better reaction. Welcome to Portrait Artist of the Year.
Last week, the third artist to gain a place in the semi-final was Lorena Levy, who impressed the judges with her original and sensitive portrait of Rory Stewart.
Feels amazing. I didn't expect it whatsoever.
Today, 9 more artists are taking on the demanding 4-hour challenge.
I'm starting to feel a bit panicky now. I wish I had a bit more time.
The life-changing prize at stake is to paint a £10,000 commission of the renowned conservationist Dr. Jane Goodall for the National Portrait Gallery.
And it's all under the watchful eyes of our exacting judges. Independent curator Kathleen Soriano, award-winning artist Ty Schurenberg, and art historian Kate Bryan.
David, you're making me feel very confident and relaxed out here. I think you're a man who knows what he's doing.
So who has got what it takes to become the 4th artist to make it through to the semi-final of Portrait Artist of the Year?
You said, I'm walking away, I'm done, I'm finished, and I catch you painting again. What's going on?
That was the first walk away.
Are you walking away again?
I'm walking away.
I don't believe you. You'll be back. They always come back.
Competing in today's heat are Mark Chen, an artist living in London, Dublin-based Maeve Kelly, who is a former teacher, retired social services worker Annette Tranter, who lives in Tunbridge Wells, Southampton-based artist Davide Di Taranto, and Tilly Willis, an artist who lives in Somerset.
Will I make it through the day with no sleep? Stamina is really what is my main concern.
Also giving it their all are former railway engineer David Newens, based in Milton Keynes, London artist Aaron Bevan Bailey, Kwani Liu, a pharmaceutical manager who lives in Cambridge, and artist Lewis Mackenzie from the Isle of Mull in Scotland.
I love to paint, so I don't have the absolute fear, but I'm not completely calm either.
While the artists get ready for the challenge ahead, their self-portraits are examined by the judges.
So, 9 self-portraits for your delectation and delight. And let's start with our first artist in their studio.
It's an amazing portrait because there are so many obstacles. The blue plastic gloves, the headphones, the upturned look in the eyes. It takes you a while to find her. It's really clever.
Next, candles burn down, they gutter and die, fruit rots. Human beings will also rot one day and become skulls. Is this too
it's such
gloomy an
fun
interpretation
being with you, Steve.
It sort of plays into the scene from La Boheme where, you know, they're in the garret, a few rotting fruit to share with each other. It is kind of very romantic.
Well, from a meditation on death to this, very bold, very alive.
Yeah, I feel like I'm getting a bit of a suntan off it. It must be amazing painter to be able to get these believable skin tones against a colour that you're fighting with.
Another painting with a vivid background, but this one only if you catch it at a certain angle.
Oh, it's like a little devotional image, isn't it? You carry it around with you and offer up little prayers to it now and again with that gold background.
OK, from a small devotional portrait to an artist at work.
It's got something about it because of the way the composition's been set up. I think I'm standing in the doorway having my portrait painted.
Another artist interested in his background.
And interested in antiquity, yet we have a very conventional, unassuming self-portrait. Beautiful shadows across one side of the face. Really stunning.
Another artist surrounded themselves with objects that you feel are significant in some way.
There's so many objects, and then the expression on her face suggests something's going on and you can't see it. It's beyond the picture frame. So it's loaded.
3 for the price of 1 here.
What I love the most about this is the geometry. It's just so right, having the 2 17th century paintings with the beautiful shadow of the frames on the wall there, and then him pulled forward.
Picture of domesticity.
It's a whole new category for us. This is like vacuum cleaner of the year. There's just something so mundane about this scene, but it's beautiful.
Let's see if she manages to clean up today.
With paintbrushes at the ready, our artists have one thing left to do: meet their sitters.
Artists, your sitter today is a broadcaster and former professional tennis player. She has fronted countless big hitters, including the Grand National, the Olympics, and Wimbledon. Please welcome sporting and broadcasting legend, Sue Barker.
Lovely to meet you. You've got me, I'm afraid. Hello.
Nice to meet you. Hello. Nice to have you. Come on. Welcome.
Oh, I'm nervous.
Are you nervous?
I'm very nervous. I've never done this before. Never sat still for longer than 4 minutes.
So, Sue, tell us about the object you brought along today.
This I was presented with when I quit the BBC after 30 years, and it means a lot to me.
Brilliant. Now, obviously, you were a former sports person, so you must have a huge inner competitiveness. Are you going to be rooting for your artists to win today?
Absolutely. I'm going to stay till the bitter end. I'm going to be up there cheering for you. I really am.
Well, you've got 3 artists beaming at you, so I will...
Let's hope they carry on that way.
Well, yeah, of course.
Artist, your sitter today is a blooming, brilliant broadcaster and author. He's wormed his way into the hearts of many green-fingered Brits during his 40 years on our television screens. Please welcome the nation's favourite gardener, Alan Titchmarsh.
Good luck. Best of luck.
Nice to welcome you. Well, Alan, gardening is your thing, but does art have any place in your life?
Huge part in my life, not only in terms of collecting bits and bobs, but also making a garden is art. It's a combination of art and craft.
The spade?
Yes. Well, it belonged to my grandfather. I use it now all the time in the garden.
Oh, how wonderful. What would you expect of them? What would you like?
I quite like portraits that look like the people they're meant to be, but you also need the spirit of them. And if you can see the soul of the person coming out of the painting, that's lovely.
That's a high ask, isn't it?
Do you mind?
Artists, today's sitter is a psychotherapist and author whose work, The Book You Wish Your Parents Had Read, was a Sunday Times bestseller. Please welcome Philippa Perry. Hello. It's your home for the day.
Fantastic.
Welcome.
Wow. I'm very honoured, excited and apprehensive.
Apprehensive. Why apprehensive?
What if I don't like them?
It's possible. Tell us about the object you brought with you today.
I've bought a candle that was in my mother's home when she was growing up. It's just been with me all my life, I suppose.
Marvellous.
No, let there be light.
Right. Are you looking for any particular type of portrait?
Singer Sargent, Leonardo.
Oh, OK, got that?
Artists, you have 4 hours to complete your challenge, and your time starts now.
And maybe just with your eyeline, just look down. Nice.
Push me around if you want it moved. I'll just sit comfortably.
Is that OK for you if I look over there, or...?
Whatever's comfortable for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Right.
Faced with a strict 4-hour limit, today's artists waste no time in making their first marks.
Tilly, have you got somewhere you need to be? I've never seen a faster start. Is that purely a technical thing, or are you an impatient person?
I am an impatient person. I like to crack on. Once I feel a bit more comfortable, then I can slow down a bit and concentrate on how it's actually going to look.
Professional artist Tilly Willis joined us in 2014 when she painted presenter Adi Adepitan. Her self-portrait in oils took 18 hours and shows Tilly in her happiest place, home.
You've been on this show before.
Yeah, yeah.
Before my time.
Before your time,
We don't
yes.
talk about those days.
No.
They burn the tapes. Unlike some artists, you have a very pared-down setup. A few brushes and a couple of jars and this wonderful palette.
Well, the palette is my essential piece of kit, and my dad made it, I think, 70 years ago or something, and I nabbed it, but it's actually for a right-handed person, and I'm a left-handed person, so it doesn't quite fit properly. My dad's 99, he's still painting.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Has he never asked you where his palette's gone?
Started by doing an initial compositional sketch, and now I'm just doing a monochrome, just so I know the kind of value scale I'm working with. The takeoff is being okay. I need to see what the landing looks like.
Mark Chen studied art in London, St. Petersburg and Taiwan before becoming a freelance artist and teacher. His self-portrait in oils took 30 hours and features fruit from his classroom.
You've gone for including a lot of the torso and the hands. Seems to me you haven't left space to include the spade in the work today.
I'm not actually planning on doing the spade. I think in pencil portraiture, sometimes simple is best. I'm trying to say a lot with the expression, face, and the hand gestures.
Okay.
And the flow of the composition. And then I think, in a way, just letting the painting happen naturally.
Well, look, I love the framework of it.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's great.
While some launched smoothly, others got off to a bumpier start.
I just had a bit of a technical malfunction. I couldn't get the photos off my camera and onto the iPad, but I managed to get them eventually. I might be a little bit behind, but overall, touch wood, it looks okay.
Louis Mackenzie trained as a neuroscientist before becoming a stay-at-home dad who paints in any spare time. His self-portrait in oils took 2 weeks to make.
Lewis, you're making this preparatory sketch that's underneath the painting. Do you have a sense of how long you need to spend on that?
I kind of try and work over the whole image at once. I'll keep working around until I bring it all up to a finish. The way I've heard it described is if you imagine you're herding sheep, you don't go and get one sheep and bring it all the way back to the pen. You go and get the furthest away one and bring it up to the rest. And you continue to do that so that
It's
you
a great
bring it all up
analogy. Although
together.
herding sheep's kind of chaotic and noisy, this is a very restful, still-looking painting.
Yeah.
Wow, it's a really interesting start. I'm obsessed by your note from your daughter underneath. That's very sweet. Well done, Eleanor. It's a great portrait.
Davide, this is a beautiful head you've got there of Philippa. It feels very different to your self-portrait.
Yeah, my portrait takes about 1 week.
So you've adjusted your style?
Yeah.
Italian-born Davide Di Taranto travelled the world as an artist and fresco restorer before settling in the UK in 2010. His miniature self-portrait uses oils and gold leaf.
I know this is the second attempt. The first attempt didn't go so well.
No, was okay, but for some reason I need a black background. It's like vibration of color, then I work with the vibration.
That's interesting, because your colors are vibrant, and you need the black for that to work.
Yeah.
When you use a black background, you have no luminosity. So it makes it easy to put a bright color on, and it makes it vibrant immediately.
Yeah.
So it makes the process easier.
For me, yes.
Okay. So now you've caught Philippa, do you now add more layers on?
I think so. More layers.
Very good. You are getting closer and closer, so I'll let you...
I will see.
I'll let you continue.
I think I'm happy with the face at the moment. The hands needs a little bit more work, but I think I can get it to a finished level. Well, sort of, whatever that means.
It's so important to get the face right. So I'm just going to take my time, really. Not rush too much, because then things can go horribly wrong.
My kind of process means that I don't put on like highlights and things till quite close to the end. And that's almost when I find out sometimes if the drawing is right, but I think I'm okay.
Broadcaster Sue Barker, gardener Alan Titchmarsh, and writer and psychotherapist Philippa Perry have been posing for the last hour, much to our artist's delight.
I'm really happy to have Philippa as a sitter because she's got quite a distinctive look, and I'm hoping I'll make a good job of it.
Retired social worker Annette Tranter's acrylic submission took 70 hours. She's surrounded by old and new possessions, as she wanted to demonstrate both nostalgia and looking to the future.
Annette, you've got a lovely drawing of Philippa there, but you just painted over a line. So the drawing is a kind of scaffolding, but you don't stick to it.
I think I'm constantly altering it slightly as I go along.
So have you been practicing for our portraits?
I have been doing some practice. What I do, I listen to dramas usually when I'm painting, so I listen to an hour at a time.
So you've got this kind of rhythm to do things in hourly slots. How do you think your time management is up at the moment?
It was quite slow drawing it out, but the important thing for me is to get the drawing right first. If I started just splashing the paint on, that wouldn't work for me.
The bones are there, it's looking good.
I'm extremely pleased to have Sue as a sitter. I choose to live my life without a smartphone, and I don't use an iPad, so it's very good to have the opportunity of Sue sitting here from life for 4 hours.
Former railway engineer David Newens is a keen runner when he's not painting commissions. His self-portrait in oils took 30 hours and depicts him in front of a pair of 17th century portraits that he'd recently had restored.
Am I right in thinking, David, that your submission was painted on linen?
Yes.
And so you're painting on linen today as well?
Yeah.
Is that your go-to, is your favourite?
It is, because it's a less mechanical grain than cotton. It's got a nice texture. It sort of pulls the paint off the brush.
Well, I can see instantly you get great texture, and I think it's going to be particularly lovely in the jacket. Is there anything that's worrying you?
The next thing I think is going to be working around this a bit.
The jacket?
Yeah, getting the relationship between the strong light on the shoulders.
David, you're making me feel very confident and relaxed out here. I think you're a man who knows what he's doing.
Aaron, how have you found this pose? Did you want something straight on like your self-portrait?
Not necessarily, but I think that what she gave me was really good. I feel like her personality is coming through.
She's analysing you.
Yeah.
Aaron Bevan Bailey is an artist and art director based in London. He collects passport pictures and wanted his self-portrait to look like a similar image. It took 7 hours and is painted in oils and acrylic.
Do you think you're going to stick with these sorts of colours in the background?
No, I think it'll probably end up with more of my fluorescent background.
Okay. What do you think the yellow gives you that the other colours don't?
I like the way it gives you this intense kind of acidic look.
But then you paint something quite traditional, but I mean in a good way. It's a good, solid bit of painting.
I think that's what I was looking for, is something to kind of break up the traditional feeling.
OK, OK.
Our 3 sitters today have each been asked to bring along an item that means something to them.
Talk us through your objects.
I wanted something from my broadcasting career which was so important, and this was given to me by the BBC, and I worked for them for 30 years, and they let me loose on so many wonderful sporting adventures.
I mean, obviously, you've done so many things, but you will always be associated with Wimbledon.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that Wimbledon takes place that last week of June, you remind me of summer.
Yeah.
You know, it's such a glorious time of the year.
It is, but it rains most of the time.
Of course it does. But in my mind, when I see you, I think, oh, it's going to be warm and lovely and...
Strawberries and cream.
Yeah.
So, the spade. How important is it in your life?
Well, it's a part of me, really, and it was a part of my grandfather, my mum's dad. My dad, whose side of the family were all gardeners, but he was a plumber. He used it for mixing concrete, but I put it back to its normal use. I mean, this is over 100 years old now, but it's still working. It planted potatoes a couple of days ago. Have a feel. I'd like to say that Joan Bakewell held my spade.
This is lovely wood.
Well, it's years of work of smoothing
Yes, and
like
it's
silk,
polished
yeah.
by hands that have laboured with it.
Yeah, aye.
It's really attractive.
Yeah.
So, Philippa, tell us, please, about your object you brought in today.
This belonged to my mother's old home, and just like we pass down bad habits, I've been passed down a candlestick.
Right.
It might come out if we want to illuminate our supper with candlelight.
OK. Have you been chatting to your artists?
I'd like to chat to them, but I think they're repelling all attempts at intimacy. Oh, dear.
It's all right, no harm done. That's all right.
Is it Terps?
Sorry.
Oh, my God, it is Terps.
Oh, yeah.
Oh. It's
Hello. Are you happy with your sitter?
Oh, she's brilliant. Really lucky to have her.
And you're working from life, and she sat very still for you, so you must be relieved.
Big relief, definitely.
Yeah.
Kwanee Lu grew up in Beijing before relocating to the UK, where she completed her PhD in management science. Her self-portrait in oils took 20 hours and depicts a vulnerable and private moment she had during lockdown.
So, what are you trying to achieve with the portrait of Sue?
Definitely the likeness of her, and also I hope that I can pick up the feeling she gave me.
And what feeling is she giving you?
A warm, caring, and also very professional.
And what about timing? You're starting to get into the details, the colour planes in the face. Yeah. Do you have a plan?
Now I just want to map all the things out. And then as soon as I feel everything, some of the details are there, then I can just focus on the face. So if I don't have time, face is the most important thing.
Yeah, good. Well, let's hope you're still smiling at the end of the day as well as Sue.
Hope so.
Maeve, I watched you earlier on in the frenetic sort of drawing stage. I feel like we've moved on to a second stage now, which is slightly calmer. What is going on? Talk me through this.
I was trying to decide between the aluminium or the canvas. So I think I'm going with this.
With the aluminium?
Yeah, it's a beautiful surface to paint on.
Maeve Kelly recently left teaching to become a full-time artist. For her submission, she used a round mirror in her living room to reflect her studio space. Painted in oils, it took 1 week to complete.
I can see you did a study which was the half length, but you've gone for the full length for the aluminium.
Yeah.
What made you decide to do that sort of leap?
It's the prop involved.
Yes.
It's length. I can't really cut off a spade.
No. We're well into our second hour now. You've got quite a lot to do.
Yeah.
I mean, is it important for you to actually go through this first phase of the study? And what does that give you?
It's kind of like a scaffolding.
You seem very relaxed to me.
I seem it, but I'm not.
Okay.
Our 9 artists are nearing the halfway point of today's challenge.
I think I've got a fairly good likeness of Philippa, but time will tell when I've got some more in, whether it's right or not.
I think I can get there in the time, hopefully. I think Philippa's coming through slowly. She's emerging from the fluorescent yellow.
I'm trying to get his nose, which is proving a wee bit tricky, but yeah, I think it's going to look like him when it's done. I think I'm going to go home not feeling embarrassed, and that was the #1 aim of the day.
Our 9 artists are halfway through painting Philippa Perry, Alan Titchmarsh and Sue Barker.
Do you get to choose where you paint?
No.
No.
Oh, no.
I'll work with what I've got. You're sitting really, really well. So, yeah, I'm thrilled to bits, actually.
3 terrific sitters who are putting the work in today, and they're giving the artists what they need, aren't they?
I don't know how well it's going. 2 of our sitters are known for being animated, and it's very interesting that when the face is at rest, it gives a very different sort of personality.
Alan, he's got a slight smile playing across his face. How's he managed that for 2 hours?
Yes, unusual. I know my resting face would be as benign as that.
Lewis is giving us romantic Alan.
Yeah, I mean, Lewis is interested in narrative and mood. At the moment, Alan's looking a bit too young. It's not quite there yet, but I think it's like the underpainting, and then he'll kind of keep proceeding through.
I loved Maeve's preparatory sketch, and now she's working on the aluminium. Are we seeing as much magic now as we did then?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of magic in Maeve's work. At the minute, though, it's all these strange geometric shapes, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed that the whole thing will come together as a piece.
Mark seemed very nervous to start with. Is that translating into his painting?
I think Mark did a really interesting sketch at the beginning, but the minute he transferred them to what is essentially quite a narrow canvas, he lost something of the heft that Alan has. But I think that over the course of the afternoon, we might start to see more definition.
Philippa has such a strong look. There are things that you can really latch onto immediately.
I guess the concern with a sitter who's already so stylised is that you have to still have room for invention and playfulness within paintings.
Davide's giving us that diptych.
It's amazing. You've got this really interesting portrait and the candle just sitting there so beautifully. They're speaking to each other. It's a powerful relationship between the 2 objects, I think.
Aaron is giving us quite a graphic Philippa.
It's more the expression of Philippa. I mean, she looks scary. She's looking deep into our souls, and what she finds isn't making her happy.
Annette is giving us a good portrait of Philippa maybe 25 years ago.
It's a school portrait, isn't it, of Philippa? And I love that the fact that it's profiled makes it feel even more like a school photo. But I think when the colour comes in, it's going to get richer.
The least surprising development of the day is that Sue Barker is professional and conscientious. She is being painted from life by all 3, but how successful is it working out for them?
It's interesting when you go to that section because Sue comes and goes across all 3 paintings. It's like, of the 3 of them, only one of them's allowed to have a likeness at any one time. It's just bouncing between the 3 paintings.
David seemed to find Sue early on, but has he hung on to her?
David was so fast with that likeness. I really like the colours at the moment. She's sort of become less defined, but I'm hoping she'll come back into focus.
Tilly went off like a rocket. I felt she was producing a nice portrait of Richard Branson to start with. Is she struggling with the likeness, or is that just me?
I think Tilly's got a lot to do because I don't think it's just the likeness in the face that's wrong, but the likeness in the body doesn't feel like Sue. That said, she's got a style, which means that she's coming in and out the whole time. So if she can put it off, you could have an incredibly fantastic painting at the end of the day.
Kuan Yi, how's she getting on in likeness jeopardy corner?
I wonder whether Kuan Yi made a wrong decision at the beginning of the day to go for that crop. She's not getting the delicacy of Sue.
Well, a lot of work to be done. Some have to capitalise on their great starts, others have to turn things round. I really hope that the artists do, not just for themselves, but for the sitters. I hate the idea of Sue, Alan and Philippa being let down.
Luckily for the sitters, disappointment is far from their thoughts.
I am enjoying myself quite a lot because I get to sit still all day. I'm not allowed to look at my email. I'm surrounded by lots of people, so there's lots to watch. I'm very much enjoying it.
It's been fascinating. I'm not very good at sitting still in the garden. I see something that needs to do, we'll just go and do that. So there's a great feeling of guilt, I think, just sitting here thinking, am I giving you enough? This is all I have, this and a spade, you know?
I've never had a portrait done, so for me this is something incredibly special. Much as though this is a big day for me, it's a huge day for them as well because they want to impress the judges. You know, this is almost like their Wimbledon and I don't want to let them down. I might ask to take all 3.
With our sitters today being so dedicated, our artists are feeling more than ever the pressure to produce a masterpiece and find themselves in need of guidance.
This is bright. Yeah, do you think I should darken that? Yeah. Sorry, I was just getting some advice from my offspring. They just pointed out a bit of shadow that I'd missed. So I'm going to rectify that now.
But one artist has a slightly less chatty support team.
Davide, I have to ask about this gentleman here.
I made these puppets with the recycling cloths.
Why have you brought him with you today?
Because my friend, they couldn't come, so then I decided, OK, I will bring it.
Bring little Davide. You're supporting yourself.
Yeah.
I love him. What does he think of the portrait? He's pretty pleased?
Yeah.
What would he say you need to do next?
I will work maybe a little bit on the details.
Thank you, Davide. Thank you, Davide. See you both later.
I would like to see how Sue, responds to the painting. Of course, if there's anything that doesn't look like Sue, it's all my fault.
Can't wait to see.
The end of the 4-hour challenge is fast approaching.
I'm nearly finished, but there's tiny little movements I need to make so that I can correct what's already there rather than doing a whole new thing again. So, yeah, it's just little tweaks. A lot of them, though.
I think I'm going to leave it alone soon because there's definitely a risk that I could screw it up at this stage if I keep going for too long.
I'm pretty much done with the head for now, I think. So I'm trying to get some of the garments looking garmenty, and then I think just try and do something with the background, and then breathe after that, I think.
Our artists had just moments left to perfect their portraits of Sue Barker, Alan Titchmarsh and Philippa Perry.
Aaron, you said I'm walking away, I'm done, I'm finished, and I catch you painting again. What's going on?
That was the first walk away.
OK.
You always have to have 3 walkaways.
Are you indecisive as a person?
Yeah,
or are you not
very.
sure?
I don't know.
Are you walking away again?
I'm walking away.
I don't believe you.
This is the 3rd one.
I don't believe you.
It's the 3rd walk
You'll
away.
be back. They always come back.
I'm sort of finalising now, so it looks more like him and there's a bit more punchy.
It's a 4-hour painting. Obviously, I could work more into things, but then it would look odd because certain bits would be more worked up than others.
I'm not quite satisfied with it yet. I'm starting to feel a bit panicky now. I wish I had a bit more time.
Artists, you have 5 minutes left.
The only thing you'd ever need is more time, but, like, that's not going to happen, so it's going to be what it is. It is what it is at the end.
I think I've done pretty much all I can do. I could go on and on and on, but I'm not going to. Whether Sue likes it or not is another matter.
Artists, at the beginning of the day, I wished you all luck. It's time to see if that paid off.
Please put down your brushes and step away from your easels.
It's been a long day for artists and sitters, and it's time to see who's most impressed the judges.
So, Sue, your artists have been painting you from life all day. Is
Pressure.
Yeah, how's that felt?
Felt I didn't want to let them down, and I hope I was OK.
Oh, you gave it absolutely everything. Well, let's not put off this moment any longer.
Please.
Artists, can I ask you, please, to turn your easels?
Oh, wow, it's so different. Also, look, they got the hair absolutely spot on.
Should we have a closer look?
Please. It's absolutely wonderful, and you've got the suit. Amazing, wonderful colours. It's really
beautiful,
nice. Really
vivid, aren't they? Thank you very much, David.
It's the Wimbledon colours. I mean, it's absolutely wonderful.
Background was a gift.
And the trophy, and you've done that magnificently. Oh, it's lovely.
Thank you.
Well done. You are the happiest artist I've ever seen. Every time I looked over, you were smiling. You were so wonderful. There's so much texture in this. It's wonderful.
Right,
Oh.
Sue, 3 portraits. You can only take one of them away with you, I'm afraid.
First of all, for all 3 of you, it's been such an honour to sit up here, honestly. I wish I could take all 3. Are you really going to be that cruel and
I'm
ask me to
afraid so.
choose one? I'll go with David's.
David.
Artists, will you turn your easels round?
Well, hello. All 3 of you. Well done. Do you know, I promised to myself I wouldn't say wow.
Everybody says wow.
They are very impressive. Such a relief.
Come and meet people.
Goodness me, that you can do that in 4 hours, and this is most definitely me. You put rather a lot of white on the hair. I'm blown away. It's astonishing. You see, that's completely different, but it's me. Oh, look at the hands as well. Oh, you are good on the hands. Oh, well done. You've got that sense of relaxation. Yeah, I was thinking when spring arrives, your shoulders go down, and it's very contemplative. I look quite intelligent, Mark. Thank you. Oh, what a choice.
Well, now you have to choose.
Oh, my goodness. It is fiendish. I was hoping it to be really easy, and it really isn't. Oh, Lewis, thank you. Go for that. Thank you very much.
Artist, can I ask you please to turn your easels?
Oh. They're very different. I like the way 2 are pointing out, one's pointing right at me. I feel quite scared of her, actually. I love the texture of the brush marks. I'm not disappointed in its holiness. I love the direct stare. I think you've got something of me when I'm in my stubborn, I've made my mind up, don't mess with me face. It's fantastic. Congratulations. I don't know how you did that in 4 hours. I quite like the sort of glassy-eyed look. I love the expression. It's going to be so hard to choose.
Right, Philippa, I'm afraid you can only take one of them home with you.
Davide.
Davide.
With the challenge over, our artists can enjoy a well-earned break, whilst our judges scrutinise their work.
I like Mark's portrait of Alan. I love the shadow on the right-hand side of the face. Whether he made the right decision in going with that narrower canvas, which didn't allow him to give Alan some of that weightiness, I think might be a question, but otherwise, it's quite a seductive little thing.
I think that Maeve's complete scene is fantastic. I love the way that the chair looks like it's sitting in this space. But if you didn't know it was aluminium, it looks a bit like felt-tip pen. It looks more crude than it actually is.
Yeah, I love Lewis's brush work, the way he puts paint down. There's something about the set of the mouth that looks not quite as warm as Alan was today, but all in all, it's a fabulous bit of painting.
I'm glad that Guan Yi put the award in. I think that she has problems with the likeness. Sue's got a very delicate face, and she looks a bit too serious here. That said, she did really want to capture Sue's professionalism.
Well, I didn't realise how creative Tilly had been with the background, actually, and the way in which the purple on the side is almost sort of encroaching into the space. But, you know, she just needed to give us a bit of lightness to do.
David's portrait of Sue as a composition, as an object on which he's put paint down, is very beautiful, but it does fall apart slightly on Sue's mouth that was held in a smile, but has been slightly misinterpreted as a bit of a grimace.
There's not that much there to Annette's painting, but I really think what she did at the end of the day enlivened this painting. Her style is quiet, isn't it? It's got a nice, quiet energy to it.
I worry that Aaron can paint. For him, that's part of the problem. He wants to make it harder for himself. The technique that he's come upon is just a little bit too tricksy. I find myself struggling to find the portrait in it because I'm so absorbed by the colour.
I thought when I saw Davide's work this morning, this is a person who's going to really struggle. This was his second attempt, and he was rather playful in using different surfaces and finding the equivalent quite easily. And then not only just find a head, but then find the narrative to give us this person sitting in front of him with her object in a meaningful way. I mean, it's just extraordinary.
The judges must now whittle our artists down to 3.
Artists, you've shown great creativity and hard work. Thank you all.
The judges have thought long and hard about each of your portraits and have come up with a short list of 3. The first artist is Davide Di Taranto.
The second artist is Lewis Mackenzie.
And the third artist is Annette Tranter.
I had a really good experience today. It was fun competing. I enjoy actually working that quickly. I think I'm going to give myself more of a time limit more often.
First thing we do every day is look at the self-portrait submissions, and then we sort of forget about them. And now, at this point, there's a sort of course moment. Of course they were going to produce something along these lines.
I think it's exciting when you get a day like today when you know that these artists have found a style. Part of it, I think, is just innate within them because they've done something today which not only responds to their submission, but definitely responded to the sitter that they had and the feeling that they had and the kind of day that we had.
And, of course, portraiture tells us something about the sitter, but it tells us something about the way the artist looks at the world. I really feel that in Annette's work.
I think what is interesting about her paintings is this sense of being detached from real life, you know, that we all privately feel. And I feel that in her look and the way that her submission's set up. And interestingly, Philippa's got that. She's somewhere else. There's a distance.
But Philippa's not like that in real life.
It might not feel like the Philippa we know, but how do we know that Philippa doesn't have these moments as well? I mean, portraits resonate when we recognise an experience that we all share. And I wonder whether that's why Annette's paintings work.
Davide worked quietly away. He gave us this exquisite little icon.
Davide really had to rearrange his working style. I mean, that tiny submission packs a punch, and part of that punch is this absolute finishedness. And, of course, he didn't have time to do that today, and he found an equivalence.
It's a story of a life, but it's also something other. This fantastic combination with the orange butting up against that black, that immediately puts you in the holy, devotional image space where you feel that you could almost close it up and take it with you and set it up on your altar at home.
I do have a Philippa altar, actually, so I do. Lewis has given us a very accomplished Alan today, and putting Alan next to the self-portrait, they're a pair, aren't they?
There are pair, but you see two very different characters.
Sure.
And two very different expressions.
I love the fact that it's as if he's put Alan in the garden. Because if you look at that right-hand side, you can almost feel the Acer leaves turning brown and the sunlight's falling on Alan's hair.
He thought about putting some plants in and actually took some pictures outside. And then figured he didn't need it.
I'm interested to know that because I wanted to know that Lewis was really looking at Alan. I wanted to make sure that he felt like he cared about the sitter.
How much do you need to understand a character to paint a successful portrait?
It's what the sitter's giving, matched by what the artist is receiving, also what the artist is, because we know so much of it is their own self-portrait going into these portraits, plus the way in which we each individually are reading them. It's art, you know, it's so complex, and it's why we're still here going on about it.
So, from all of those factors, you're going to have to pick a winner.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm not in your heads, because it feels like there's a lot going on.
Annette, Davide and Lewis, congratulations on getting this far in the competition. But as you know, only one person can go forward.
The artists that the judges have selected created an insightful portrait that responded well to their sitter. And that artist is... Davide Di Taranto.
Wow!
What can I say? I feel very good. This is the big thing in my life.
Davide's winning portrait was great, and he did a good job and deserved to win.
I thought Davide's piece was terrific. It was a well-deserved victory for him, and I'll be rooting for him in the rest of the competition.
Well done, well done. Davide was so responsive to the sitter and the object. He really feels his way through with the portraits, and that makes me excited about the semi-final. It's slightly unknown, but we have a confidence given what we've seen in the submission and today in the portrait of Philippa.
It was a very nice experience. I'm excited about the next stage.
If you'd like to know more about the competition and the work of the artists featured in it, please go to skyartsartistoftheyear.tv.